What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here. Primer made to deliver you our Week 9 matchup here in the PFL. This week we are taking on Joey, and he doesn't have a team name, or doesn't have one listed on the document. So I'm just going to call him Joey. We're going to take on Joey's team. And his team consists of Dragonite, Suicune, Espeon, Umbreon, Typhlosion, Scyther, Mega Diancie, Alakazam, Gyarados, Azelf, and Torkoal, with his only Z user being his only listed Z user being Azelf. So don't know if that means he doesn't have another Z user. I have to double check for that, but I don't think he has another Z Crystal user available on his team. So that is pretty cool, honestly. No real complaints there. I'm perfectly down with only having to deal with one. That's fine with me. So, but his team's decently scary. He actually replaced Adam, who actually quit the league not too long after we faced him. I think he quit the league around that time. It was close to that. I don't remember particularly. Did he? I think it was like the week after, yeah. I think it was the week after he faced us. Yeah. But regardless, it was not too far off. But so he dropped, and Joey took over the team, and made a lot of changes. So a couple interesting changes. Very interesting team overall. But I think we have the right mons to beat it, and the first mon that we're bringing to beat it with is our Tapu Fini. So we are bringing a timid Tapu Fini who is EV'd to outpace a Gyarados, so that's cool. So we can taunt that thing if it comes in against us and can't set up any Dragon Dances and whatnot. And then we can Nature's Madness and then hit it with Moonblasts and shit like that, so we can whittle it down. Gyarados doesn't do too much damage to us, depending on his set. He's not a Z Gyarados, so it's not as terrifying as it could be. So that's cool, and we can keep him from getting up a Dragon Dance. This thing can also taunt and beat down the Umbreon, as well as the Suicune, with Nature's Madnesses and stuff like that. We can really whittle down things like the Suicune, and the we can really whittle down his bulky mons, as well as being able to kind of shut down some of his potential setup sweepers in the form of Dragonite and Gyarados. Because neither one can set up in front of this mon, because this mon is faster than both. So that is really, really important, and will definitely, I'm sure, come into play at some point in the matchup. Because Fini is going to put in a lot of work here, I think. One thing to note, though, Dragonite will not be affected by the weakening of its Dragon. Like, its Dragon-type moves will not be affected. I think that's how it works. I think, like, Dragonite's not grounded, so its Dragon-type moves will not be weakened by the Misty Terrain. So that's something interesting to note. I'm gonna have to be careful with that, but overall, I'm not too worried about that. I think we can beat the Dragonite fairly easily with just this mon alone. But I think the Dragonite's not that big of a deal. But next up we have Shadow, the Zygarde 10%. Life Orb, Dragon Dance, Thousand Arrows, Rock Slide, and Outrage. Basically, if we can get up a Dragon Dance, we can pretty much clean up his team. Between the combination of Thousand Arrows and Outrage, we can pretty much knock out the majority of his mons. If we can break the Zam's Sash as well, it would be very important, because that's obviously something that could completely stop this thing from sweeping. We have Rock Slide specifically for the Scyther, because Thousand Arrows will not be able to break through it, as well as Outrage. And at least with Rock Slide, if we get to +1, we can tear through the Scyther just pretty easily. But besides that, we can pretty much click Thousand Arrows in a majority of his team. Outrage will be nice outside of the Misty Terrain to really break through mons. And if we can get rid of the Mega Diancie decently early, or before we set up with this thing, could be very important, because then we can literally just click Outrage and nuke a couple mons before we drop. So that could be really, really important. So Shadow's hopefully going to put in some work this week. Next up, we have Boltdog, the Mega Manectric. Obviously, having that Intimidate, we will make sure that he has... Do we need to have Lightning Rod beforehand? It doesn't really matter what ability he has beforehand, because he doesn't have our opponent this week does not have an electric type. So that is important to note. We have Full Switch Thunderbolt, HP Ice, and Signal Beam. We are EV'd to outspeed a max speed Alakazam, which is very, very important because Alakazam is obviously the fastest thing on his team, and any damage we can get on that thing is important, and outspeeding it allows us to be able to Volt Switch on it very easily. Our opponent this week does not have any ground types, so we can freely Volt Switch against this team no matter what is going on, which is really, really cool. Volt Switch and Thunderbolt should be able to do a massive amount of damage. He actually doesn't even have an electric resist on his team, which is even better, so we can really put in a lot of pressure with Volt Switch and Thunderbolt in this game. HP Ice is there specifically for that Dragonite. If we can chip that thing out of its multi-scale, this thing can easily knock it out without any issues whatsoever. And then we have the Signal Beam, so that we had something that was super effective on things like the Espeon, Umbreon, Alakazam, stuff like that. So that is what we got going on with our Manectric. Next up, we have Thanks Steve, the Celestina, Burian Flyinium Z. Modest Nature, with 236 in speed, max special attack, and then the rest is kind of split between HP and defense, just so that we can have an odd HP number, and then we just had like 4 left over. So we have the Autotomize, and Autotomize is there because it will help us outpace... I think that is... Gonna have to pull up a calculator real quick just to double check this. I think this is actually for... What speed were we at with Finny? 288, so 287 I believe. 287 times 1.5 divided by 2. Yes, this is to outspeed a +1 Gyarados, so that's cool, and we can hit that thing as hard as we possibly can. Flash Cannon is obviously for that Diancie, and just to have for stab as well, just to hit things as hard as possible. Air Slash is there for that Flyinium Z. Air Slash is mainly there for the Scyther to hit that thing as hard as possible. But the Flyinium Z is a good nuke to have to just tear through something that's in front of us. Then we have Energy Ball to hit that Suicune. Realistically, the goal is probably to hit that Suicune with that Flyinium Z, potentially putting it in range for that Energy Ball so we can knock it out, even if it decides to go for a Calm Mind or something of the sort. So that is our Celestina set, and hopefully we'll be able to put in some work. Next up, we have Hard Body, the Reuniclus, Cobra Berry, Magic Guard, fully physically defensive with Calm Mind, Protect, Psyshock, and Focus Blast. Protect could be important in this game to potentially lock things into moves or block potential Z moves. It's entirely a feasible thing. Or to even just waste PP. There's a lot of potential mons that could do things like that to this mon that could be a very, very detrimental situation. So that's important to have. Calm Mind is... Actually, why do I have Protect? I feel like this is supposed to be Recover. I'm 99% sure this is actually supposed to be Recover, and I don't know why it's Protect. So I'm going to go with Recover, because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Recover. Like, that sounds like something that makes more sense to me. But Calm Mind, Recover, Psyshock, Focus Blast makes more sense. Calm Mind, because I can set up pretty well against his team. I feel like I could set up decently well in front of something, at least. Maybe even the Torkoal, potentially. And then this thing can put in a lot of work against his team as a whole. Can't be Toxic Stalled or Burn Stalled or anything like that because of our Magic Guard. And between Psyshock and Focus Blast, we're able to pretty much beat down the majority of his team. The only things that resist the Psyshock are Espeon and Alakazam, and Zelf, all of which are fairly frail, so if we can get up a few Calm Minds, Psyshock should still be able to tear through them. Then we have the Focus Blast because of Umbreon, because it is immune, obviously, to the Psyshock. So, that is the plan with our Eunuch list. I think that I think it can put in a decent amount of work in this game, so we're going to see what happens. Last but not least, we are bringing Fabric Softener, the Beware, Assault Vested with Fluffy. We are bringing Max Attack, Adamant Nature, 248 into HP, and then 4 into Spadef and 4 into Speed. We put the 4 into Speed because he has Umbreon? Question mark? Umbreon is base 60, right? Don't make me stupid. 65. Alright. Hold on. I feel like I should have ran that calc already. What? Put the 4 in Speed. No idea. Well, I'm about to move some, 166? About to move this out of here. There we go. That's perfect. Now we outspeed the Umbreon. So, alright, cool. So, Fabric Softener, the Beware, Hammer Arm, Return, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. This way we can actually outspeed the Umbreon and knock it out with a Hammer Arm, so that would be really cool. Return hits literally his entire team. Just hits his entire team for damage, outside of like the Mega Diancie, but like realistically, he's not going to want to switch Mega Diancie in on this thing, especially if I'm going for like a Hammer Arm or something, which will do a ridiculous amount to it. But Return will do a significant chunk to literally anything else. Then we have both the Ice Punch and the Thunder Punch. Ice Punch is there for the Dragonite, which obviously cannot switch into this thing, because it can't take a combination Return and Ice Punch. And the Thunder Punch for the Gyarados, which cannot take both either. So, I think this Mon could put in a lot of work this week, and I'm really looking forward to using Beware, because he's so precious and adorable looking. But with that, we are going to get into the battle, so hope you guys enjoy. Peace! Alrighty guys, we are here for our matchup, our battle against Joey. You just watched our team builders, you know what we're bringing. He decides to bring the Dragonite, Suicune, Alakazam, Espeon, Azelf, and Gyarados. He brought the double water plus the triple psychic core. So we're going to see how this goes. And we are going to hop into the battle. Obviously we're switching sides because our side's better. We're going to lead with Boltdog here because it's the fastest thing against his team, and we can just freely Volt switch out. So we're going to do that against the Azelf and go into our Celesteela. As he actually goes for a Normalium Z. I'm assuming that was probably off of like Explosion or some shit. He's going to go for the knockoff. It's not going to be able to do anything because I am Z, and I'm going to be able to kill him with an Air Slash. He goes into Suicune, and since I'm at +1, I'm going to go for an Energy Ball, and I made sure I outspeed him, and he's going to go for the Calm Mind. I am forced to go for my Z here. I'm going to pop my Supersonic Sky Strike, and I'm going to knock out the Suicune. The crit did not matter unless he was a fully Spadef Suicune, so that's one thing. He does get a crit Waterfall here, unfortunately. So he's going to be able to beat my Celesteela with the Gyarados, unfortunately, but we can just go back into my Manectric here, just go for the Thunderbolt. He's going to go into his Zam, and then he's going to get 2-hit KO'd. So then he goes into Dragonite, so I'm going to Volt Switch out to break its Multiscale, and I'm going to go into Beware because we are nice and fluffy, so we can take any hit from him. We're going to go straight for an Ice Punch as the Espeon's going to come in. I've debated staying in here like 15 times, but I figured going into Eunuch was smarter. So I'm going to go to Eunuch. I'm going to set up a Calm Mind real quick. Get that nice Calm Mind going. He's going to set up a Dragon Dance here as I go for my Psyshock. And I'm going to do a decent amount of damage. He's going to go for Crunch. I'm going to munch on my Colbur. And then I'm going to kill him with a second Psyshock. So now I'm sitting here, nice +1/+1. He's going to go for Dragon Dance here, and I'm just going to go for another Psyshock. So I'm going to knock him down pretty low, but then I'm going to go into my Tapu Fini, not trying to lose. I need as many differential points as possible. I'm going to take that Earthquake like a champion, take the second one, and I'm going to be able to knock him out with a Moonblast, which is really, really nice. So now he's just going to go into his Espeon, and at this point I just go into Manectric because I know Manectric can take any hit, and he's just going to go for a Trick. I don't know if he was Specs or Scarfed or whatever, but we're going to be able to pick him off with a Thunderbolt, and that is going to be... Oh yeah, he was definitely Scarfed because he outsped my Manectric, never mind. So we're going to pick up a nice big 5-0 victory here in week 10, or week 9 of the PFL. So we definitely needed that win. Badly, really badly. So, GG to Joey. Manectric just put in work, man. Manectric and Selestina just put in so much work, so I'm really, really proud of that. I'm just also bummed that I never seem to get to use Zygarde whenever I bring it. It's really unfortunate, but regardless, that's it for the game, and hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you have not already. And until next time, I am PokePrimer, signing off. Peace.